All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this from. This is Cobbs with the Parlay Parlor. It is Monday, February 9th, and we're back with another NBA slate. Huge slate today. We have 10 games. I guess Adam Silver has the schedule planned out to, fully fill the schedule with the week with NBA. I guess NFL is over. Why not? All-Star weekend. We do have 4 days of games before we have All-Star weekend. So let's see if we can make some money. With that being said, brief recap of yesterday. Sucks. We went 3-1 Saturday, just to go 1-3 yesterday. The less said, the better. Honestly, looking back on it now, I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I guess some reads were wrong. Simply, Jaylen Brown. I mean, I guess no one really expected the Celtics to get blown out like that, but the Knicks came out higher energy. Jose Alvarado is going to be a fantastic addition to this team. I'm interested to see when his props are available. I might have to look at his stocks, honestly. Jaime Jaquez, I mean, unfortunately enough, it was a blowout, but just the other way around. The Heat won by 31 points. Me being at Capital One or not being at Capital One, me being at Capital One or not doesn't really seem to make a difference, really. I guess the only thing in my defense is I think Jaime Jaquez literally shot 2 for 12. He only had 4 points. I know you do see him in the tab above, and you're probably like, okay, this guy just got burned by him. Why is he taking him again? The nuance is it was a 31-point blowout. Again, he only shot 2 for 9. I am not taking him for his for points today because of that. But I am taking him for another stat, which I'll get into detail with. And in Anthony Edwards, I mean, I called it out in the video. He tends to not cover this line in blowouts or games that the Timberwolves should win, but they end up losing. Unfortunately enough for us, this was both. It was a 20-point blowout. I mean, 41 points from Kawhi Leonard. I mean, vintage night from him. And when he scores that much, I mean, it's not looking good in any case for those 2-game scripts. Edwards really wasn't engaged. I mean, I guess probably avoiding this game entirely was probably the player taking the Clippers spread. Jaden McDaniels, he was even worse. I think he had 2 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. So goose egg across the board there, honestly. And then even in the Raptors Pacers game, I know I didn't put this on the card, but I also had Andrew Nemhard and Pascal Siakam for 2 threes. Both of them had 1. So in general, very rough day, but it is the second day of a new week. Hopefully we bounce back. We've been chasing the long awaited sweep. I don't know if it comes today. Let's just get back into the green and properly in the green. Let's go 3-1 again. With that being said, let's get started. We are going to go to an old reliable. I am taking Osher Thompson for 6 rebounds. He didn't get it in the last game against the Knicks, but that was a 38-point blowout in our defense. And when we look at other games recently where he hasn't gotten it, I mean, relative blowout against the Suns. We already know about the game where we took him against the Nuggets and he got foul trouble and blowout to the Kings. So simple. Again, it is an old reliable play, but it is a system play. This is locked in fully into his role. Osher Thompson, fully responsible of handling weak-sided rebounds. And we have the Pistons taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Simple enough when we look at the lineup, even with Jalen Duren with a probable tag on him, actually. So he's probably going to play, if anything. But even if he is downgraded to doubtful and doesn't play, with Isaiah Stewart coming in, the matchups are quite linear when we look at this. I mean, we're going to see Jalen Duren or Isaiah Stewart on Moussa Diabate. Miles Bridges being occupied with Tobias Harris. And then that does allow the weak-sided rebounds to fall to either one of Osher Thompson or Duncan or Cade against LaMelo Ball, Concanapa, or Brandon Miller. I think in most recent games, I was leaning towards Concanapa, but the rebounds is heavily juiced at 4.5, 5. So 5 rebounds for like minus 145. I didn't see much value. Let's just go with a line that we're comfortable with, we're consistent with. If it comes up to either being Conknappel or Brandon Miller, I'm not that concerned with Osher Thompson not being able to get to gobble up 6 rebounds. As I've said before, the other 2 times I've taken him, this simply just comes down to the minutes he's going to play and whether or not he gets into foul trouble. If we look into games when he has high fouls, I mean, most recently he didn't get it against the Denver Nuggets. We can ignore the New York Knicks game because it was a 38-point blowout. But simple enough, if we just look at the minutes, he's averaging 28 minutes on the season, I think. 25 and a half on the season. But if we look at last 20 games, 24, last 10, 25. Okay, so let's lock him in at just 25 minutes. Let's give him 20, 23, 24. It goes from a 70%, it still stays at a 70% hit rate across the last 10, but across the season, we go from a 65% hit rate to a 69% hit rate. As long as this can be a competitive game, and the Hornets most recently have been keeping games competitive, much to our detriment when we take them, but hopefully this is a competitive game. This is a game that Osher Thompson is able to keep his hands to himself, as I have said many times before. In terms of rebound chances, he's averaging 9 rebound chances on the season. If we just give him 7, he goes to an 81% hit rate on the season. Give him 8, it still stays at that. But even if we give it up to a tough matchup, he still gets this. Even when it's a tough rebounding matchup, these are the game environments where Osher Thompson does crash the boards. He is able to get defensive sided boards, and even in certain instances, very rarely, we do see him have the opportunity for putbacks, but high octane, high energy player is what I usually say. And those are players that tend to cash more often than not. Hopefully that works for us in this case. So Osher Thompson, 5.5 rebounds, usually the same price you can get it for, minus 122 across all the books. If you do want some plus money and you are in a state with no vig, sure. No qualms against it. Osher Thompson, 6 rebounds. Second prop for today, we are going to go back to Jaime Jaquez. Hopefully this isn't the one that burns us, but the logic with this is, I mean, there's only so much you can do in a 31-point blowout. He still played 28 minutes, but none of the starters for the Heat played more than 25. So while, yes, he did get a lot of time in, and we can see with that time, he got a goose egg in terms of scoring. When we look at in terms of his facilitation role, he was hooked. He had a 10.5 rebounds and assist line. He gets 10. Again, 31-point blowout. Only so much that can happen. They are on a back-to-back now, and they face off against the Utah Jazz, who themselves are in a tanking project. But in terms of Utah tanking and the Wizards tanking, it does tend to be a little bit harder for the Jazz, especially now with Jaren Jackson Jr. I mean, we saw on Saturday that it was a concerted effort for them to tank. I mean, they had to sit the starters all fourth quarter for the Magic to come back. I am anticipating and hoping for something like this again. A short trip down the East Coast for the Heat. Utah is still in Florida. I mean, they just played the Orlando Magic on Saturday. So in terms of it being a back-to-back for the Heat, yes, but 31-point blowout. Norman Powell exited the fourth quarter, but I think that was just optics for them to just get him out of a game that he doesn't need to be in any further. Same thing for the rest of the starters. In terms of injury report, Pale Larson is officially out now. He was out yesterday, but he was ruled out yesterday, but he is continuing to be ruled out. Norman Powell, I do expect the Q tag to come back to probable, and he is going to suit up tonight. With that being said, the idea for Jaime Jaquez, as long as this is a slightly less explosive of a blowout, and credit to the Heat, I mean, 10-point spread, it was slightly less than the 14-point spread that the Wizards were able to, blow the Pistons out of the water. Was scared to take it then. I think now, let's look at what the spread is for this game. I think it's not that high. It's 7.5, so it's dropping. Of course, the Heat should handily win this game in any case, especially against a Jazz team that are making a concerted effort to tank. But this for Jaime, it's another system play. I say system play when he hasn't cashed for us at all yet. But again, the idea was taking him or Wiggins. Wiggins has had 2 decent games in a row. He had 10 rebounds and 11 points, granted, but still, I don't like the natural deviation that's going to come from those rebounds, especially on a back-to-back in terms of the scoring. So I'd rather take someone who is going to come out with the second unit and for many instances play with the first unit. Again, same tangibles as yesterday when it comes to Jaime Jaquez and Andrew Wiggins, who I was debated on taking for the points and rebounds again. You're still going to see 28 minutes, same rebounds and potential. But in Jaquez's case, you see a lot more potential assists. If we just bump this up to 27 minutes, if he sees at least 26 minutes, this goes up to a 56% hit rate across the season, 55 of the last 20, 80% of the last 10. Especially without Pale Larson. This was very interesting. Well, actually, no. Let me not say that, because without Pale Larson, he doesn't really make that much of an option, because Pale is normally stuck in the corner, even though he is a player that likes to facilitate as well. Not facilitate, but he is more of a high energy player. Jaquez does seem to be given more of a responsibility by Eric Spoelstra to create, facilitate, crash the board, and kind of do be a jack of all trades. With Norman Powell in, which is what I wanted to actually filter this out with, because none of the starters played the fourth quarter. This is a hit rate that he goes to 83% across the season, 70% the last 10. The notion is, of course, with Pale Larson out, Jaime Jaquez will simply insert himself into the starting lineup. With that being said, with the 5 Heat starters, with Jaquez now being a starter, we should see a bump up in minutes. If we just filter this out by, let's be still lenient on that. Let's give him 28 minutes. This goes up to a 500% hit rate in the last 5, 60% in the last 10, 50% across the 57% across the season. We give him 30 minutes, just 30. This goes up to 75% hit rate. If you look at where Jaime Jaquez likes to do most of his assisting, he's definitely gonna be dishing it out to Norman Powell on the wing, or to at least get it on the wing, and then Norman Powell can do what he does to score, hopefully within less than 3 dribbles, directly to Bam at the post. He can give it to Andrew Wiggins, who can score in bunches himself, and even Davion Mitchell, for as streaky as he is, as a catch and shoot guy on any given night. And we look at the Jazz, that's the green that we want to see. I mean, again, concerted tank effort, so this is going to be a huge caution tag on this, due to the fact that it was a blowout yesterday. He didn't get it. We are taking him again in another blowout. If you are concerned about that, I actually do like the assist at 4.5 at -120. I'm just okay with taking the rebounds, because still at 6 rebounds, he will still cover his line in both. If this is any less of a blowout like it was yesterday, and hopefully to our defense, it will be, Jaime Jaquez to get 11 rebounds and assists should easily cash. If you have some concerns about it, you can take the 4.5 assist at -120, priced fairly well across all the books. Taking the rebounds and assists, a little more juice off it, a little more juice on it, but at the same time, the role is just going to be there, I think. You could take the assist. I'm looking at this now. I like the assist. I hate to pivot in a video. The 4.5 assists are there. I'm only thinking about Jaylen Brown yesterday, but again, that was an abysmal performance from the Celtics in general. Let's not pivot. Jaime Jaquez, 10.5 rebounds and assists. To our second to last profit tonight, we are going to go with Drew Holiday. We have the 76ers taking on the Trailblazers. We are taking them for the 24 points, rebounds, and assists. There is a Q tag on Deni Avdija. I'm not too concerned. I do think they're probably going to rest him until after the All-Star break, or they're just going to rest him in before the All-Star break so he can play, because I think he is an All-Star this season, and he'll come back after the break. But in any case, I do want to condense this to recently, especially since that last game that Deni Avdija played was against the Knicks on the 30th. Since then, Drew Holiday, we're seeing a kind of a vintage form of him. He's been scoring in bunches, scoring at a 50% rate. He's facilitating he's getting boards, he's creating shots for other people. Against the 76ers, This seems just like the matchup that he should get. I know I say that, and then when you look at head to head, he hasn't gotten this in either of his last two meetings against them. This was when he was with the Celtics, so let's take it with a pinch of salt. But across the season, we're looking at a 63% hit rate on the season. More recently, especially with Denny Avdija out, we're seeing Drew Holiday assert more of a. He is the starting point guard. He has been the starting point guard. He's had some injury trouble himself at the start of the year, but now, most recently, if we look in games that he's covering just his variable minutes line of 24, 25, just to start off. And in what should be a competitive game, I believe we're looking at I think it's a 3-point spread either way. Yeah, it's a 3.5 point spread, Philadelphia's way. Um, so, and honestly, I think that's low-key a trap. I think the Trailblazers are a very daunting matchup at home, especially even with Joel Embiid back. I was leaning towards Donovan Clingan. His PRA that has dropped back down to I think like 26.5. Yeah, 26.5. But with Drew Holiday, there's just more of a role. Oh, well, I guess with Donovan Clingan, I think his role would be consumed with having to occupy Joel Embiid, while Drew Holiday, yes, he will have to handle the likes of a Tyrese Maxey or a Drew Holiday, depending on the matchup. Um, he has a lot of support. I mean, Tamani Kamara and Jeremy Grant aren't scrubs in terms of defenders at all. Weak sided rebounds will be there for Drew Holiday. Assists should be there to Donovan Clingan to shoot a three or under the post. We are seeing a vintage Joel Embiid, but I do think that in terms of a post matchup, Embiid has only cooked in matchups that he should. This is going to be probably his hardest matchup to date this season with Donovan Clingan. I think for Drew Holiday, and it's again, with a PRA line, this is something that I'm perfectly fine with Drew having to cover half. He needs to cover the bulk, some of this, around 60% of this in points. We have a 15-point line from him. He's been shooting the ball fantastically across the last couple games. We're getting the volume. He's putting up 12, 13 shots a game, shooting at a 50% clip. This is a play that I am perfectly fine with living and dying on variance. His assist, 6 assists, rebounds, 4 rebounds. Wait, really? 4 rebounds? That is a Drew Holiday, 5 rebounds, but of course, 5 rebounds. Why is that so low? That's dropped. That could just be a live. That's low key a live line that you might want to take. 76ers are a bottom 5 defense to rebounds to point guards, rebounds and assists. 9. Wow, this is a low number. PRA is perfectly fine. I think Drew Holiday, again, he's shooting very efficiently. He's shooting not only efficiently, but he's shooting at the volume that we need him to score at. We look at his shooting zones. Drew Holiday, he's a jack of all trades scorer. And we can ignore, and I guess there was a red there. I said he didn't get it. That was simply these are blowouts. But from the zones that Drew Holiday likes to score from, he is kind of left to shoot the three. I won't say he's a streaky 3-point shooter. As you saw in Boston, he can shoot it at a pretty consistent clip. He doesn't shoot it in bunches, but at the same time, he will be the primary ball handler today with Shaedon Sharpe out. He has only played one game this season without Sharpe, and that was against the Grizzlies. Very last game, he soared over this line with 27 PRA. When we look at the zones in terms of where he likes to do his assisting, Donovan Clingan, 50% of those at the rim, or Robert Williams, who does have a Q tag on him, but Jeremy Grant, whoever will be at that, who will be inside the perimeter in the paint. And at the perimeter, Shaedon Sharpe is out, but we do have Scoot Henderson back. The opportunity will definitely be there for him. Tamani Kamara, who is a catch and shoot 3 kind of guy. Jeremy Grant, who loves to do a lot of his scoring from the paint and from the 3 when needed. And again, hopefully 51% of these assists go to Donovan Clingan, who I think already has a high points line already, or relatively high points line. I think it's like 14.5 or 15.5. Oh, 11.5. Jeez, wait, what? It is Joel Embiid. I guess the 76ers are a good center defense. Honestly, Drew Holiday PRA or Donovan Clingan points. Field goal attempts, how many threes he taking? Yeah, it's not even threes. He's gonna get these at the rim when the ball is given directly to him or putbacks. Yes, we do have Joel Embiid. Centers, Mark Williams, I'm not really trusting him to score as much. DeAndre Ayton, these are gonna be putbacks. Quinn and Post has covered his line. Al Horford, Brooke Lopez. I love Donovan Clingan 11.5 points. Am I even gonna lie to you? Yeah. You could take Donovan Clingan 11.5 points. I currently have Drew Holiday, 24 PRA. You can pivot. You can pivot and take his 4 rebounds. Is that still listed? Yeah, 4 rebounds at -164, and Donovan Clingan points. If you wanted to kind of water it down, you can honestly just take Donovan Clingan points straight up. But I'm gonna stay with Drew Holiday PRA. That's what's gonna go on the spreadsheet tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm not coming on here in the morning with egg on my face with Donovan Clingan covering his points line and Drew Holiday not doing shit. um, but with that being said, let's go off to our final prop of today, and that is going to be Isaiah Hartenstein. We are going to take his rebounds and assist. It is at 12.5. It I think it's open. Yeah, it's open at 12.5. I can see this maybe going down 11.5 potentially. We still have no SGA. J Dub, the other Jalen Williams, the one that starts for them, normally is back in our lives. That he is off the injury report. We will do have to assume there's going to be a minutes restriction, but especially for an OKC team that did lose against the Rockets, they probably want to see, and I think they haven't done too hot most recently. And they lost to the Timberwolves. Yeah, they've lost 2 of the last 4 games, which is fine, I guess. Um, one, two, they've lost 3 out of the last 6 games, and I guess for OKC, I mean, they're still going to make a deep run in the playoffs. SGA being out, J Dub being out, there was for as good as a performance that Hardenstein put in with a near triple double, back to back triple double, and another double double from Chad Holmgren. I think they're grasping for straws right now. OKC, they're not sliding. They're far from that. They really can't slide with how much of a lead or start of the season that they've had. And this isn't, hopefully enough, it's not anything long term for SGA. This is probably just to give him some rest until the All-Star break and keep the wild streak alive, I suppose. But for in terms of rebounds and assists for Hardenstein, I mean, this is a line that he soared over in the last game, first game without SGA, and he's gotten that in the game with SGA before. Yes, there is a lot of red in this, but across the season, he is hitting this at a 51% hit. There was one instance I wanted to look at when he plays with Chet Holmgren. This does drop it down a little bit to pretty much a coin flip. It is a 50-50, but there is no SGA. Of course, when we look at SGA, I think there is the only one game with Larry last game to justify for it. The notion is with J Dub back, there's no Q tag on him at all. I have to see if there's a minutes restriction on him, but in any case, Hardenstein, his role is primary big man ball facilitator, to be honest with you. Pick and roll is there for him in terms of assist. I mean, his assist line, I think after he's had 2 triple doubles, is probably at 4.5. Yeah, it's at 4.5. A little too juiced for me. I'm okay with taking the assist because he has a 7.5 rebound line. If he can cover 8 rebounds and 5 assists, that gets us to 13. If there's any deviation in either one of those two, I want to fall in the middle with just taking the rebounds and assist, which is kind of the thought of play with every rebounds and assist play. But when we look at potential assists, most recently it's skyrocketed. I think this is going to stay the same until SGA is coming back. I mean, Case and Wallace, Lou Dort, J Dub is back now, of course, but without a J Dub, that was Aaron Wiggins or Aaron Wiggins and Alex Caruso. In terms of a backcourt and wings and guards, that is not good at all. I mean, maybe with Jerry McCain, we have some better hope there. But this is primarily going to be J-Dub, Chet Holmgren, and Hardenstein trying to just do the most that they can to disrupt LeBron James and Austin Reeves. You do see that Marcus Smart and LaRavia are going to start off for the Lakers, but I do think as they're ramping Reeves minutes up, we're going to see him insert himself in lieu of Jake LaRavia. DeAndre Ayton has a probable tag on him. Didn't play against the Warriors. Probably we're saving him for today. If he doesn't play today, they're probably saving him for Wemby. I'm not sure why you would want to save DeAndre Ayton for a matchup like that, because I was initially looking at his points and rebounds as under, to be honest with you. Just because, I mean, last game when it was a near 40-point blowout. He did cover this. He never got this near this line. Yes, he got 10 rebound opportunities, but only converted half of those. And in terms of field goal attempts, he only took 5 shots. I think some of those were failed putbacks. Points and rebounds, I wanted to put him at an under, honestly, but it's just a little too much under, too below his season total. So Isaiah Hartenstein, rebounds and assist. When we look at where Hartenstein loves to do his assisting, I mean, at the rim, this goes to not only Chet Holmgren, but hopefully the likes of J-Dub, who will be back in the lineup. Perimeter shooting, Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, Aaron Wiggins. And then when we look at where the Lakers love to give up assists to centers in this position, and especially because this twin tower lineup of Chet Holmgren and Hartenstein, I just think the opportunities for rebounds are just going to be too spread out across these 3 bigs. And then we have 2 of them who don't necessarily. Well, Chet in recent weeks has taken more of a responsibility finally, but I think in a matchup like this, hopefully for us, because we're putting money on it, Isaiah Hartenstein, 12.5 rebounds and assist. I was trying to see. Actually, wait. This Lakers spread was at 4.5 this morning, I want to say. Was it at 4.5? Yes, it was at 4. If this keeps going, I know J-Dub is back. I want to take another Lakers spread. I hate to take teams back to back just for the sake of it, but we're talking about a team that's covered this in 80% of home games. Yes, the head-to-head, these have been blowouts, but at the same time, SGA out, we know there's going to be a lack of scoring. Hartenstein, 12.5 rebounds and assist, or Lakers spread. If this gets to 7.5, jump on it. If this goes to anywhere near 9.5, 10, a double-digit spread, yes, hammer it. I don't care. I don't care if it loses. We can take the risk on that. But with that being said, let's go over the props today. It's Usher Thompson, 6 rebounds. Jaime Jaquez, 10.5 rebounds and assist. Drew Holiday, or you can take Donovan Clingan, 11.5 points. I do love that. Or the prop that'll go on the spreadsheet for tomorrow is going to be Drew Holiday, 24 points, rebounds, and assists. And Isaiah Hartenstein, 13 rebounds and assists. Or, very big or with quotation marks around it, and in capitals, with or Lakers spread if this gets anywhere north of 9.5. With that being said, this is Cops with the Parlay Parlor. If you're still here after 28 minutes, I do appreciate it. If you could like and subscribe, put down in the comments what you're rocking with from today's card, what you're not rocking with. Let's have a bounce back. A rough Monday. I hate to look back in the past, but we've had a good week. We've had positive weeks the last couple of weeks. Hopefully this continues and this becomes a positive week with a lot more green than red. Hopefully we get a sweep finally. With that being said, please gamble responsibly. Gamble what you're willing to lose. Be blessed. Have a wonderful day. And may the odds be ever in your favor. Peace out.